If a woman you're dating says any of these five things, it's time to leave. No debate, no explanation. You're not being harsh, you're protecting yourself. Most men ignore the warning signs until it's too late, but today, you'll learn exactly what to watch out for. Stay with me, because number five will change how you see relationships forever. Let's face it, relationships can be tough to navigate. Emotions get involved, boundaries blur, and sometimes what seems harmless on the surface hides a deeper issue. As men, we've been conditioned to ignore red flags because we're taught to be patient or understand her side. But there's a difference between being understanding and letting someone walk all over you. This video isn't about bashing women. It's about protecting your mental and emotional peace. By the end of this, you'll have the clarity to know when to say, enough is enough. If a woman says any of these five things to you, it's a clear sign to walk away immediately. You're not being unreasonable or overly dramatic by doing so. You're protecting yourself from what could turn into a toxic and exhausting situation. Most guys brush off phrases like these, thinking they don't mean much, or worse, they take them as challenges to prove themselves. That's a dangerous game. Ignoring these red flags can leave you emotionally drained, mentally exhausted, and questioning your worth. The truth is, some words carry deeper meanings, meanings that reveal her mindset and her approach to relationships. The signs are there if you're paying attention, but too many men ignore them, convinced they can make it work. That stops today because when you recognize these phrases, you won't stick around to see where things go wrong. The first thing you need to understand is that these warning signs often come disguised as casual remarks. They don't immediately set off alarms because, at first glance, they sound harmless or even playful. But when you dig deeper, they reveal insecurities, manipulation, or an unwillingness to take accountability. And as men, one of the biggest mistakes we make is assuming it's our job to fix these issues or overlook them in the name of love. Love is about mutual respect, not self-sacrifice. If she values you, she'll show it through her actions and words. If she's saying things that undermine you or twist the relationship dynamics, it's time to step back. For instance, the phrase, "you're too nice," might seem like a compliment on the surface. But dig deeper, and you'll realize it's often a thinly veiled critique. She's not appreciating your kindness, she's dismissing it. To her, too nice means you're not challenging enough, not assertive enough, or perhaps too predictable. Now, let's be clear. This isn't about becoming someone you're not to gain her approval. A woman who's worth your time and energy won't criticize your kindness or equate it with weakness. She'll value it. So, when you hear this, it's a sign that your efforts are being overlooked or undervalued. And the truth is, when someone doesn't value what you bring to the table, there's no point in staying at the table. Another subtle red flag is the phrase, "I'm not like other girls." At first, it sounds intriguing, right? Like she's setting herself apart from the crowd, trying to highlight her uniqueness. But more often than not, this phrase signals an insecurity she's masking with comparison. Someone who genuinely values herself doesn't need to downplay others to uplift herself. She doesn't need to tell you she's different, because her actions will show you that. Women who use this phrase frequently might also set unreasonable expectations, expecting you to constantly reinforce her uniqueness, while making you feel like no one else will understand her as she truly is. It creates a one-sided dynamic that can quickly become exhausting. Sometimes the most dangerous phrases don't seem alarming until you connect the dots. The issue isn't just what's said, it's how and why it's being said. Women who exhibit these patterns often rely on emotional manipulation, subtle guilt, or constant self-validation to maintain control in the relationship. That's why recognizing these red flags early is so crucial. One of the most manipulative phrases you might hear is, "If you loved me, you would." It's a sentence designed to push you into a corner, to make you question your dedication, and ultimately to control your actions. Think about this for a second. Love isn't supposed to be a weapon. It's not a tool for coercion or manipulation. Yet, when someone uses your feelings as leverage, it creates an unhealthy power dynamic. You might start to feel like you have to prove yourself constantly, that no matter what you do, it'll never be enough. This isn't just a minor communication issue. It's a toxic pattern that chips away at your confidence and self-worth. The sad truth is, many men don't even realize what's happening until they're deeply entangled, constantly jumping through hoops to meet expectations that keep shifting. When a woman says, "If you loved me, you would," then it could range from small asks to larger demands. It might start as something seemingly innocent, like, "If you loved me, you'd spend more time with me." But as time goes on, it could escalate to guilt tripping you into major sacrifices, giving up friendships, abandoning hobbies, or even compromising your values. You might feel tempted to comply because you care about her, but every time you give in, you reinforce the behavior. This phrase is her way of testing boundaries, and the moment you let it slide, you lose control of your side of the relationship. Let's move to another phrase that's equally deceptive. "My ex was crazy." Now, everyone has had complicated experiences in past relationships, and there are legitimate cases of difficult breakups. However, when someone consistently brings up how terrible or crazy all their exes were, it's a pattern worth paying attention to. If every single ex was the problem, what's the likelihood that she had no part in the chaos? It takes two people to make or break a relationship. When she speaks this way, it can indicate a refusal to take accountability. People who can't own up to their part in the past often carry the same destructive behaviors into their future relationships. Think about it. If she's trash talking her exes now, how do you think she'll describe you when things inevitably go south? Even worse, she might still carry unresolved emotional baggage, which could come out in your relationship in unexpected and harmful ways. It's not your job to fix her past issues or deal with the fallout of her unresolved emotions. Your priority is finding someone who has the maturity to learn from their mistakes and grow. Another subtle but insidious phrase you need to watch out for is, "I don't believe in labels." On the surface, this can seem modern, progressive, and harmless. After all, some people genuinely feel like they don't need to define every aspect of their relationship. But more often than not, this line is used to avoid commitment while still reaping all the benefits of being in a relationship. It's a strategy to keep you on the hook without offering clarity or direction. This kind of ambiguity keeps you in limbo, constantly guessing where you stand. She might say things like, "Why do we need labels? Aren't we happy the way we are?" And while this could sound reasonable at first, what she's really doing is avoiding the accountability that comes with committing to you. She gets the emotional support, attention, and benefits of a relationship without any responsibility to you as a partner. It's an arrangement that benefits her far more than it benefits you. And if you're looking for something serious, this dynamic will only leave you feeling unfulfilled and frustrated over time. One of the most dangerous phrases a woman can say to you, often disguised as a form of honesty, is, "You're not what I usually go for." At first, you might brush it off as a simple comment about personal preference. Maybe it sounds like she's trying to be polite, like she's complimenting you for being outside her type. But dig deeper, and you'll see this statement isn't as innocent as it seems. It sets a tone of superiority, as if she's settling for you rather than truly choosing you. This phrase keeps you in a position where you constantly feel the need to prove your worth. Instead of enjoying the natural flow of a relationship, you're stuck thinking about how you measure up. Here's the kicker. When someone says you're not their type, they've already planted a seed of doubt in your mind. They've framed the dynamic in a way that places them above you, like you're lucky they're even giving you a chance. That power imbalance will show up time and time again if you stick around. You might find yourself bending over backward, trying to convince her you're good enough, fun enough, attractive enough, or whatever you think she wants. But here's the truth. No relationship worth having will ever make you feel like you're constantly auditioning. Now, some women will say this phrase in a playful tone or pass it off as casual conversation. But let me tell you, words matter. They reveal unspoken truths about what someone is really thinking. Relationships built on mutual respect don't involve these subtle digs. If she genuinely sees your value, she won't waste time making comparisons or reminding you that you're an exception to her so-called preferences. If anything, she'll make you feel like you're exactly the person she's been searching for. not a temporary detour from her type. Let's shift to another phrase that's equally damaging but often overlooked. You're lucky I put up with you. This one cuts deep. It's a loaded statement meant to undermine your confidence and keep you in a state of dependency. She wants you to feel like you owe her something for sticking around, as if her presence in your life is some kind of gift. But the reality is, this phrase is designed to make you feel small, inadequate, and easily replaceable. Think about the psychology behind this. When someone says, "You're lucky I put up with you," they're flipping the script. Instead of focusing on how she should contribute to the relationship, the attention shifts to how much you should be grateful for her involvement. It's manipulative, and it puts you in a position where you're constantly trying to avoid upsetting her or giving her a reason to leave. This is not a partnership. It's a power play. A healthy relationship doesn't operate this way. Respect is mutual. It doesn't need to be demanded or dangled over your head like a prize you have to earn. When someone uses this phrase, they're signaling that they see themselves as the prize and you as the one who should constantly work to keep up. The question is, do you really want to stay in a dynamic where you're always trying to prove your worth to someone who clearly doesn't see it? Here's the hard truth. Phrases like these are not just red flags, they're neon warning signs. They tell you exactly how she views you, the relationship, and herself. Ignoring them doesn't make you noble, it makes you vulnerable. You deserve someone who uplifts you, not someone who constantly makes you question your value. Finally, one of the most devastating phrases to hear, and one that cuts to the core of any relationship, is, "I think we should take a break." At first, this might sound like a reasonable suggestion. People need space sometimes, right? But more often than not, taking a break is just a softer way of saying she's losing interest. It's a phrase designed to keep you as a backup option while she explores other opportunities. Think about it. If someone truly values you and their relationship, why would they want to step away from it? Real love is about working through challenges together, not hitting pause whenever things get tough. When a woman says she needs a break, she's testing the waters to see how you'll react. Will you beg her to stay? Will you fight to convince her why the relationship is worth saving? Or will you stand your ground and walk away? The way you respond in this moment speaks volumes about your self-respect. If you chase after her, you're confirming her doubts about the relationship. But if you calmly accept her decision and distance yourself, you're showing that you won't settle for being someone's second choice. Here's another layer to this. The concept of a break is often vague, and that ambiguity works in her favor. She might not give you clear boundaries or timelines. Instead, you're left guessing and overanalyzing every interaction, wondering when or if things will go back to normal. Meanwhile, she has all the freedom to explore her options without technically being held accountable. This imbalance creates emotional chaos for you and puts her in a position of power. That's why when you hear this phrase, the smartest thing you can do is walk away. Not angrily, not bitterly, just confidently. Show her that you're not someone who waits around for scraps of affection. Walking away might feel difficult, even counterintuitive, but it's the ultimate act of self-respect. It sends a clear message. You know your worth, and you won't compromise it for someone who isn't fully invested in you. The truth is, women are naturally drawn to men who have boundaries. When you respect yourself enough to walk away, you create an energy of confidence and independence that's impossible to ignore. And here's the kicker. If she truly values you, walking away won't end things. It'll make her realize exactly what she's at risk of losing. To wrap this up, it's essential to remember that words matter. The things people say reveal their priorities, their intentions, and, most importantly, how they view you. When you hear these 5 phrases, "You're too nice," "I'm not like other girls," "If you loved me, you would," "My ex was crazy, and I think we should take a break," don't ignore them. These aren't just passing comments, they're red flags that tell you exactly what kind of relationship you're signing up for. Every relationship should be built on mutual respect, trust, and a genuine appreciation for one another. When those foundations are missing, no amount of effort or compromise can fill the void. By recognizing these signs and having the courage to walk away, you're not giving up. You're stepping into your power. You're choosing to protect your energy, your peace, and your self worth. So, the next time you hear one of these phrases, remember this: walking away isn't a weakness, it's a declaration of your strength, your value, and your refusal to settle for less than you deserve. And trust me, the right woman, the one who truly sees your worth, will never give you a reason to walk away in the first place. Subscribe for more content that puts your growth and success first.